but I'll try and see if I can just quickly run through, inshallah. Lockdown and mental well-being. I just want to start with a few stats, if you like, some key headlines. So unfortunately, I can't share my screen, but maybe I'll share the slides later, inshallah. Some of the key headlines, I don't want to depress us, but it's important that we are aware of this so that we know how to prepare ourselves, mentally for the challenges. We've been through a couple of weeks now, but very likely we'll still go through a few more weeks, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve us of this pandemic. I mean, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Key headlines. As of 8th of April, about 2 weeks ago, a week ago or so, schools have been suspended in 188 countries according to UNESCO. And the main implication of this is that over 90% of enrolled learners, that is 1.5 billion young people worldwide, are now out of education. They are now at home, sitting at home. The other bit I want to share is that Young Minds, a UK charity, has found that 83% of children and adolescents up to age 25 with a mental health history in the UK said that the pandemic had made their condition worse. The other bit I want to share with us as well is that spending time in isolation and following social distancing measures may slow the spread of the disease, but it may also be linked to an increase in depression and anxiety, drug and alcohol abuse, domestic violence, and child abuse. The Guardian also reported a study conducted by the University of Sheffield and Ulster University. People whose incomes had been hit by the pandemic they had higher rates of anxiety and depressions. It found that 32% of people had already lost income due to the pandemic. This was published on the 31st of March 2020. That was a week after the lockdown, but a further study to be conducted later this month. So the implication of that is that the number, the 32% is likely to increase. The increased domestic violence, at least 16 suspected domestic violence, domestic abuse killings in the UK have been identified by campaigners since COVID-19 lockdown restrictions were imposed. So you can see all of these are, very, very depressing, but the reality is that, we are all in this together, and we have to prepare ourselves mentally. The other bit is that many parents are actually working from home now, and they are having to, they are struggling to juggle childcare, which could impact on their mental well-being as well. Working from home, combining it with childcare is in itself very rigorous, and we need to be mindful of that as well. So for that reason, as parents, we need to be mentally aware and make provisions for how to really take care of our mental health. The last thing I want to mention is that, yes, the royal couple say, they say that lockdown is stressful on mental health, and this was reported by the BBC, that is the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. They acknowledged it is stressful even for them. So let me quickly go into some of the tips that I have for us that we can actually implement and will help us our mental health well-being whilst we are at home. The first point I have here is that we should actually build our relationship with the Quran, and that is very, very, very important. Can you hear me? Brahma Shoot? Hello?
Yes, sorry, I went on mute. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay, inshallah. So the first point that I have here, of course, because for us as Muslims, this is very, very important. We need to build our relationship with the Quran, because Allah mentions in the Quran that whatever situation we find ourselves, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So the Quran is a cure for any kind of disease that you can think of, any ailment, any situation you find yourself. This Quran will give you the peace of heart that you need. But unfortunately, We don't have that relationship with the Quran, a lot of us. And Allah perfectly describes, describes this situation in the Quran in Surah Al-Jumu'ah. I think it's Quran chapter 62. Allah says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. This is the point I want to use. Allah is describing the Jews here. It says the relationship that they had with the Torah was, they because whatever that suited them, they took. Whatever that never suited them, they took out and modified it. And a lot of the times you found, it was discovered that they never actually abided by what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in the Torah. And Allah described them with an interesting description. It says the description of those who were given the Torah is like the donkey carrying books. And unfortunately, most of us Muslims are actually like donkeys carrying books nowadays in terms of our relationship with the Quran. Because Allah is describing the relationship of those that were given the Torah, the relationship they built with the Torah, like the relationship of a donkey carrying books. Of what book? Of what value would the books be to a donkey? And the similitude of that relating to human being, to us as Muslims now, is that a lot of us, we've kept our Quran in the shelves since the last Ramadan. That's if at all, even if some of us actually used our Quran. So now Ramadan is around the corner. Some of us will dust our Quran again and perhaps read a few times before the end of Ramadan. So we need to build a relationship with the Quran. Alhamdulillah, the month of Ramadan is here. The month of the Quran is around the corner. So much so that most of the scholars would give the Quran 80% of their time. And we can do that as well as Muslims in order for us to emulate the scholars. So we need to make lots of dua. It's a very challenging time that we found ourselves. Lots and lots of dua, especially against all kinds of illnesses. All our azkar that we say in the morning, our azkar sabah wal masah, morning and evening, we need to say this. And even specific dua against some of this illness. The popular one that that has been going around the social media is the dua in Sunan Abi Dawud, related by in Sunan Abi Dawud and Ibn Majah, where the Prophet ﷺ taught us that we should say that Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-baras wal junun wal judam wa min sayyi al-asqab. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from leprosy, madness, communicable diseases, and evil, all kinds of evil sicknesses. This hadith was related by Anas bin Malik, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So it's important that we memorize this hadith and all the other azkar that we say. And I know we started with al-mathurat. We need to memorize all of this dua so that we say them immediately after Fajr and immediately after Maghrib. And inshallah, Allah will protect us all through the day and all through the night, inshallah ta'ala. Also, quickly make lots of dua, lots and lots of dua at this time. And we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what we want. Some of us, a lot of people are depressed. We need to make lots of dua. Remember, not just for ourselves, for our children, for our immediate community, and the whole humanity in general. The third point is that you should clear your heart of any worries. Clear your heart of any worries. And how do you do these? There are so many azkar that the Prophet ﷺ has taught us as well. One of the popular one as well, part of the Al-Mathurat as well, is the story of Abu Umama. He went into the masjid, he was worried with debt, he didn't have money, he was owing a lot of money. He was in the masjid at a time when nobody was in the masjid, and the Prophet ﷺ saw him. He asked him, why are you in the masjid? He said, look, I'm so worried, I'm anxious, I cannot pay my debt. And the Prophet ﷺ taught him this dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan, wa'udhu bika min al-'ajzi wal-kazal, wa'udhu bika min al-jubni wal-bukhl, wa'udhu bika min ghalabati ad-dayn wa qahri ar-rijal. And the meaning of this is that, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from worry and sadness. I seek refuge in you from weakness and laziness. I seek refuge in you from cowardice and miserliness. I seek refuge in you from being overwhelmed by debt and the tyranny of men. We should memorize this dua, and inshallah, Allah would relieve us of our burdens. The other bit is that recitation of the Quran, remembrance of Allah. Ala fa inna dhikra tanfa'ul mu'minin. Ala to remember in the dhikr in the ayah. What's this ayah of the Quran? فإن ذكر no على بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. It is with the remembrance of Allah that the hearts will always find peace. The other bit, those are the ways we will put our trust in Allah. Then the other bit is for us to tie our camel, and I'll quickly run through this. You need to, for those who are out of employment at the moment, you should be able to go onto the government Gov UK website, try and find out what employment benefits that you are entitled to, so that you can get the government support. Plan practical things that you can do. Plan when you get your food supplies. If you are the type that's on medication, make sure you plan your time to make sure you have adequate supply of your medication. Stay connected with others. Talk to people. Relate with people. Express your worries to people that you trust. And if you think you cannot trust anybody, there are so many scholars that you can talk to. Call them. And if you can't, then there are so many charitable organizations that you can talk to, like Anxiety UK, Mind, Mental Health Foundation. Talk them through your worries, and they'll be able to give you some advice to help you overcome your worry. But ultimately, put your trust in Allah and do all the necessary things that you need to do. Look after your body as well. Do a lot of exercises, immune boosters, a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, omega H3, healthy eating. Eat healthily to help you, especially in these difficult times. Stay on top of difficult feelings. Focus on things that you can control. Whatever is not in your control, please don't kill yourself over it. And do not stay glued to the news. If you want to take any news, take the news from reliable sources. And if it means taking time off the social media, then that's fine. It's good for you. Work out. Just make sure the information you get is from reliable sources. And if you are the type that gets anxious or depressed when you hear about the death of people, then try to manage yourself, control your emotions, and manage your time. Of course, you cannot stay in this day and age without following the news, but just try to, yourself better, manage your time properly, and in terms of the news that you listen to. Carry on doing things that you enjoy. There are a lot of free online courses out there. Do a lot of reading. Ramadan is around the corner. Get seerah books, the Quran. Give yourself targets that you want to cover, certain parts of the Quran, the seerah of the Prophet, the seerah of the great people. Set yourself targets, read all of this. Take time to relax, do a lot of mindfulness, lonely time, quiet time. Think through, think about, what you can do to help yourself mentally. Some quiet moment is always very good for the body. Think about your new daily routine, especially for the children now, especially for those children who have special education need. They are used to certain routines, but now that we are all at home, they are lacking those routines. You need to create those routines for them at home. Otherwise, it's going to create a different set of problems for you as a person, as a parent, and for the child as well. So also, we need to look after our sleep. We need to sleep well. Our azkar for sleeping at night, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Falak, and Nas, and other azkar that we know. Please let us recite them before we sleep. Some people struggle with sleep. Allah, if you do this azkar, we'll be able to get sound sleep and keep your mind active, play games, jigsaws, puzzles, and all that. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and keep us safe in these trying times. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khairan, brother. And sorry, we're pressed for time, but what we would do is I'll keep you on mute, and we would have a generous time to answer some questions and take some comments, and Bidnillah, you'll be able to give us more of your thoughts during that segment. Our next speaker is Hajia Mulka Ayashams. You're already unmuted, Ayashams. So, yep, you've got another 15 minutes to share your thoughts.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته again. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. And that is, oh my sustainer, open my heart so that and make my task easy for me and loosen the knots from my tongue so that they might fully understand my speech. That's from Quran 20 between verses 25 to 28. I want to say, Brother Suleiman has said most of the things that I would like to say, but I'll just shed a few light. I want us to understand that this situation we are in is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First, we must have no doubt that this is from Him. We cannot prevent what befalls us. How we deal with it is what matters. And how we deal with it is either going to get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it will take us further away from Him. May Allah prevent us from all that. I was like, the lockdown is clearly having a major social and psychological impact on the whole population, on all of us, increasing unemployment, recession, which appears almost inevitable. It's separating families and various other changes in the way that we live, that we know are generally major psychological risk factors for anxiety, depression, and self-harm. People are bereaved. And I want to take a pause and say, I acknowledge that people have lost loved ones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should please, we beseech Him to grant every bereaved family succor. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala suffice them. And those who are ill at this minute, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stand them firm in faith and protect all our frontliners.
Amen.
Amen. This lockdown is isolation. It is not good when it is imposed. It's like imprisonment and could have profound and potentially long-term impacts on mental well-being. Because we are stuck together for extended period with no anticipated end date or no immediate known cure for the causes of this lockdown, which is COVID-19. Even for one who ordinarily qualifies as someone that is confident, this situation breaks us little by little. Isolation chips away our mental well-being, our happiness, our confidence, our relationships, etc. And what we want to do is to deliberately create solutions to prevent or curb this chipping away so that we can build and manage our individual as well as collective mental well-being as a community and achieve a balance, inshallah, because Allah has created us as a balanced nation. We are not given what we cannot bear. Allah has told us. So we cannot say we cannot bear this. It is how we deal with this. Now, it is said that Allah refers to, in all issues we refer to Allah. Allah says we should we refer to Allah and Rasulullah in all our matters. Allah has put us together in a lockdown. It is how do we do it individually? I'm going to talk about it individually in the home, as members of a family, and as member of a general community. So Allah says that, and as Basrama has quoted, if you want that in the members of Allah, do hearts find peace, and that Allah says if we remember Him, He will remember us. That is Surah 2 in Quran 2 verse 152, and in 153 Allah says that we should seek help with patience and prayer, and Allah is with those who are patient, who patiently persevere. And Allah says, whoever turns away from my remembrance, and this is key, that whoever turns away from His remembrance, his life will be made tight and narrow on the day of resurrection, and that person will be raised blind. And this is contained in Surah Taha, verse 125. So, in adjusting in all of this, what do we do in our homes? First is in obeying Allah, we obey all the instructions of the experts by staying at home and doing the social distancing. While at home, how do? We work from home. It is a situation that defines who we really are. This situation, this lockdown, it tests our patience, shows who we are. Are we able to extend that professionalism we exhibit outside in our various offices, in our homes, with our spouses, with our children? Are we patient? How many of us, if as at now, I don't know where we are, how we have all managed this situation, but if your children are still asking you, or your husband is asking you, or your wife is asking you, are you going out when you dress? Then you know that you always dress when you are going out. You don't dress for the family. Our lifetime, this has to make, reflexively, this has to make lifetime changes in our life, in our personal relationship with our children, with our family, and with our Lord. Because if you look at the Quran, Allah says in Surah 2, in Surah Al-Baqarah 172, where Allah talks about what bir is and what bir is not. He first refers us to after, and the list goes on. After we acknowledge as those who say who do the shahada and acknowledge the basic principles of Islam. It now talks about those who give to their family, the orphans, the needy, the traveler. Now we are locked down with our families. It is a time for us to decide or to determine how we live with them by divine, as a divine duty that is expected upon us. So we need to sit down and dust our books and dust our eyes and cross our teeth, because you see, there's no guarantees. If we don't die of COVID, natural, any other thing can take us, and we'll be accountable to our Lord. And that is what matters here. Why are we locked down? The family, a lot of us this time around, we either marriages are breaking up that we are aware of, and some people are cementing their relationship. So this is a situation that actually defines us. We should be able to personalize this now. So what we do, like the routine that has been mentioned, we do dua together. We are working from home. If you're working in a room, please be considerate of others. You can go to another room another time, so that everybody has a space in a space that is very, very tight already. And if we are asking for our lives back, if we are saying we can't wait for all this to be over, we need to think, what are we actually running to? The job, the businesses? Are we really missing out of that? Does it mean it is our family, ourselves that we are running away from? Even ibadah we can do in our homes now. We need to look at it with a different lens and reach other conclusions. Furthermore, we can do exercises with our family. The Prophet served his family, dance, jump, do anything on your feet, but swing your arms. It is doing something with your family. And whenever we do the intention that it is ibadah for us, it becomes ibadah. We can also, time to reflect has been mentioned. We can share information. Now, if we know that, okay, after all this, I mean, our resources have been tightened. Don't forget, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us already that it is Allah that expands our resources or that restricts them. So if that is going to happen, there's the dua for a prayer against poverty is already there. When we have to come to question and answer, there's a list of dua that I have put there. Dua for children, dua when we have anxieties, dua when we are sad, dua when things are becoming difficult for us. Dua of patience, all those dua are already there for us. So it means Allah has, for us as Muslims, it's a total package already. And this is a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which of his messages do we reject? Which of his messages do we not want? Which of his messages have we not sat down to reflect and actually think about? So what are the positives in this for all of us? We need to look at that. Also, even in doing this, we need to check our times, tick the boxes. Referring back to that verse that I mentioned, that where Allah talks about what priority is. So look at the time you spend with your family. All of you can take your phone and check your screen time. If you see how many hours you have spent on the phone, it means though you are already in lockdown, you are not with your family. And we need to readdress that within ourselves. It's a time for individual and collective reflections. Also, there's a lot of Zoom going out there now. Everybody is doing things on Zoom. How much Zoom do we Zoom? How much outdoors are we in, despite the fact that we are locked down? We need to check that as well. That is for everybody to answer individually. And don't forget that when you show compassion to others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show, the one who is in heaven will show compassion to us. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to give. People are giving. There are people who are doing sadaqah. We have so many out there that we hear, that we see in our communities. We need to be able to help our families, those who have learning difficulties, and then within the community. I want to go to the welfare within the community. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Forum has a welfare package. But what needs to be done further to that is that we need to ensure that policies and systems are in place policies and systems are in place so that it is professional, people's confidentiality are maintained. And now more than ever, we know that this is something we need to continue to do. There's going to be a lot of issues going on after this whole COVID with the mental health that Brother Suleiman has already referred to. What can you do individually in your home? Myself and my husband, we started a befriending service. We sent it out on the onset of this situation, and people have been calling that number. That is what we can offer. Whatever you can offer in your community, please offer it. We also wrote letters to our neighbors. We went and put it on their doors that we can check on them from time to time, put our phone numbers there so that we can help people with shopping if the need does arise. So we put ourselves out there. And then so many other things like that people are also doing in the community. This must continue. We must have this attitude that it is not only when problems happen that we are there as members of a welfare community. It must, because people have problems across all boards. We must have, if you put this in mind, it's very good. And I want forum, if possible, and other organizations, and for those who are listening, who are not even members of forums, we need to set up something. It is Faru the Kefaya, it's a collective responsibility. There are so many people who are widowed now. There are some people who are orphaned. How do we cater for them? It's a collective responsibility, personal and collective responsibility for all of us. And I want to say also that despite this, there are marriages that are breaking. And I want to acknowledge the fact that it is okay for marriages to break, because it is better for you to live together, to live alone in peace than to live together in sadness or rancor or unhappiness. There's a verse of the Quran that tells us that amongst your spouses and your children are enemies for you. That also should console you. If you think your spouses are not doing what they should do, you've made your dua, done with your istihara, fine. Then for the fact that you're still locked down together, try to be civil. I mean, Rasul says that if what we are going to say is bad, we should keep quiet. We should try practicing all of that. But just make our home that whatever professionality we are able to exhibit outside, we should bring it in and be civil and say that Allah grant us ease in the situation that we are in. There are prayers for our children. All of these prayers at the end of the session, they're all in Fortress anyway. If anybody wants their headings, their subheadings, we can make it available, and then it can be shared. But I know it's not easy. Saying it for me, it's not that I'm particularly absorbed from all of this, from the challenges. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserves us beyond this time. And whatever we have said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let it exceed our expectations. Whatever we have come to listen to, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a better understanding than that which we have listened to. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our dead, and we that are living, may Allah keep us in good shape, in health. May Allah suffice us. May He be enough for us, and in all the families, in all of us, where we have Sakina, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala retain it for us. Where we require it, may Allah please grant it for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ultimate source, which is Al-Jannah to Firdaus. And whenever it's our time to leave this earth, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let it be when He's most pleased with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you for that, and thank you also for keeping within the time available. We'll just go straight to questions and answers, and then what we'll do is we'll take comments at the end, so that we could get the questions in up front. I don't see any hands raised, neither do I see any questions in the chat yet. Okay, I've got a question here. Let me just unmute. Dr. Fawzia, you're unmuted.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Sorry, mine is not a question, it's a contribution.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Right.
We
So,
don't have any questions. Yeah.
mine is, from the mental point of view, how we can use the situation positively. A lot of us are working from home. I was on isolation for 2 weeks and I had to work from home. And it was quite interesting that I could actually multitask. I could still be at work and still cook for the house and still be in meetings. So these are just positive ways of looking at the situation. Yes, you're locked down, but what else can you do? You can help in the home, particularly to the children and to the husbands. You can help the wives at home. Allocate duties to everyone. Ask them to share the chores out, and that will take the stress off the woman. Also, in terms of managing stress, we can all get stressed, and it's a good thing to like schedule time for when you want to deal with this. In terms of finances, you can cut down on excesses, you can prioritize your needs. For those that have mortgages, you can apply for mortgage holiday. For those in isolation that feel isolated, they can actually set out a timetable and schedule time that they want to do different things. Because sometimes if you don't have a plan, then the whole day goes, you're moaning and you're actually not doing anything done. So if you have a timetable set out for yourself, for the family, time for you to reflect and set out things that you actually want to do, there are lots of courses online that people can actually sign up to. And there's loads of way of engaging yourself. So yes, it is isolation, but there is a way out. In those prior to the lockdown, I never thought I could work from home, even though I had a laptop, and I kept saying, "Oh, when I'm home, I'm home. I don't want to do anything to do with work." But this situation has actually exposed me to the fact that actually working from home is not a bad thing. And also, for those that are struggling with their businesses, with marriage, we should all realize that these are all parts of test in life, and they're not actually your life. They're just part of the things that we go through in life, and you have to actually make a choice. How do you want your life to be? Do you want to be happy? You have to, kind of prioritize and give those things less priority. So that's my contribution.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else got any questions? No? Okay, all right. Shams, I understand you want to give another, give us some more information. Shams? Let me see. I don't believe Shams is on mute. I think she must have dropped out. No, apologies. Okay. Sorry, I
yes.
muted you.
I was just going to say that I belong to, if there's anybody out there who needs help, there are ways we can signpost you to organizations that are working. There are people who have perinatal depression, women who have just had their babies, they're having baby blues. If there are husbands out there who are finding it very difficult to cope. I also have been doing a few bereavement services online. And also there are people, I do harmful practices and sexual health challenges. There are partners that are going through a lot of challenges right now regarding relationship with their spouses, and there are others who are dealing with several other issues with their children as well. And if you contact me, it's totally confidential, and then I can refer to services that are out there. It's not easy. Please let us be. It's okay to be vulnerable with our families. It's okay to tell our children that they can't have McDonald's, they can't have this and that, and you explain it to them. It takes a lot of conversation. We sit down and say, look, things are going to be a bit tight for the family. What do you think? How do you think we can contribute? How do you think I can help you? How are you going through this situation? What do you feel? How is this affecting you? If we sit down and have this conversation, it will be amazing what kind of conversations our children will come up with. We need to create that space to have conversations. We work from home. Let's assume Monday to Friday we're working from home. Because what about the weekends? There are no parties. There's nowhere to go to. There's no usra anyway. So why don't we turn it around and give it to our families so that post COVID-19 we'll be able to have quality time with our families. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, I don't see any questions. Okay, yeah, I've got a question here. Okay. 1 second. Okay, no, sorry, I think I did the wrong. Yeah, Dr. Balogun, you're unmuted.
Yeah, Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for the conversation. I just wanted to ask, basically, because I know we have quite a number of people with experience in mental health on the call. So the question now is that for someone who is basically having warning signs of possible mental breakdown or mental health. We know prior to the lockdown, the standard thing would have been to get in touch with your local practice and maybe try to get a referral to the relevant specialist. Now, with the current situation right now, what sort of advice would you give to someone who has just exhibiting something similar at this point in time, and also having the anxiety to leave the house to go and maybe attend a specialist service? What sort of advice could we give to such individuals? Because I know it is pretty tough. There are people who may want to prefer not to say anything and keep on holding on to things, hoping that this is going to end at some point in time. And with the situation we're in right now, we don't know when this is going to end. So what sort of advice would you give, and how would they kind of take it forward?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Shall I take it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair, Dr. Balugumi, Allah reward you. That's a very good question, actually. The government has actually been emphasizing a scheme which is called improving psychological therapy access. It's called IAPT, improving access to psychological therapy. Initially, when it started, its referrals are usually through the GPs, but now you can actually Google locally and see which organizations are actually providing those services locally within your area. You can log on and actually self-refer. So they're actually making use of digital technology these days. To be honest, you're not likely to get a face-to-face assessment, but once you self-refer via the online services, you can get a digital assessment from the organization. And I know maybe Dr. Fauzia can actually shed more light on this as a GP, because I know GPs also refer. That is for somebody who is experiencing low-level anxiety and maybe depression, or for somebody who already has the history. Well, I suppose you'll have to get in touch with your mental health trust, because there's usually a package. For those whose cases are very serious, there's something called CPA, the care plan approach. They always have a plan, and they will talk you through how to manage all of that, especially with the family. If it's a psychiatric issue and if it's very serious, there will be no other choice than for such person to be taken into the hospital. But if it's a mild case, if it's as a result of the lockdown, where you are having, being anxious, you're feeling uncomfortable, you can call. There are so many charitable organizations out there. There's Anxiety UK, there's Mind, there's Mental Health Foundation, there's Young Minds, so many organizations, Samaritans, so many of them out there that you can call and talk to, and they'll be able to give you suitable advice with respect to your situation.
Okay.
So, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
In addition to that he just mentioned them, Mind and Samaritans, there are people who have had, even with their GP, problems with language barriers, because it's just long-winded. So if you have family members who can help people like that, when you go onto Mind, what they now try to do is that they signpost, or some of these Samaritans, they signpost individuals who have come to volunteers, those who are volunteering with them, who are from that ethnic minority or ethnic group, who can, and use interpreters to help that person access the rights. Sorry, that's not coming from me.
Yeah, that is not from you. I'm sorry.
So they use volunteers who are from different from different ethnic groups, ethnic backgrounds, to be able to help that person to fill the forms online, or to do whatever, or to access the service that they need.
Okay, Jazakallah. I've got a few other hands up. Dr. Fauzia, I'll come back to you. Just keep your hand up. Let's see, Aisha Ali.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khairan for all the speakers. It's more just to bring a suggestion. So I'm a pediatrician, and right. I recently attended a session. So at work, we have, obviously the hospital understands that even us frontline workers have problems with dealing with this, because it is quite stressful for us as well. And so we had this resilience session, and I thought I should share with everybody that I found very helpful, especially for those of us who have children who are between the ages of 11 and 15. I think I found this very helpful. So it's something called anchoring, and it's just more for you to imagine. So if you imagine that what everything is going on in this world is like, this COVID-19 is like a storm, and you imagine that you're in a boat in the sea, and you know that there's nothing you can do about this storm. So what you should do is stay in your boat and put an anchor down, find a little quiet area and anchor down, and just let the storm go while you are safe. And obviously, while you're putting yourself down, you can do all the, you know, as Muslims, you're dhikr, remembering Allah, get closer to the Quran. And I thought this was quite helpful, and I think it's been helpful for my children just to share with everybody to see, because there's no point worrying over what you cannot deal with.
Right.
There's no point worrying over something you cannot control.
Okay.
And that just
in
puts
practical
you in
terms, can you actually give us an example? Okay, metaphorically, anchor down, but can you give us a quick practical example? So how do you release the anchor in practical terms?
So the way this lady suggested, this psychologist who came to talk to us, was so this was obviously more from us medics going home.
Right.
So when you leave, you take deep breaths. I'm sure many people do mindfulness.
Right.
So take deep breaths. Imagine that all this anxiety, all these things you're worried about, imagine them as a breath. So take a deep breath in, and when you breathe out, imagine that all that stress is your breath and it's just coming out.
Right.
And what she's saying is that you have to be conscious of that breath. Try and feel the breath coming in, hold it for a couple of seconds, and be mindful of that breath going out, and just release. So these are kind of, and I found it helpful, and my children seem to find it helpful. So just to share for other people.
Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts with us. Olawale Ajia. Let me see.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm talking to you from Lagos in Nigeria.
Okay, we've only got 30 seconds for you to make your comment. We're running out of time.
Yes.
Yes.
I thank the organizers. My appeal is that we look out more to those who need our help, even though if we cannot relate with them physically. Helping, calling other people, and asking after their health will boost our own immunity. I'm a lawyer, I'm not a medical person, but it has worked for me. The other thing is we pay less attention to the social media. We will see a lot of distressing things. We should engage members of our family, especially our children, those of us who are over there. Let your children know your background. Tell them stories about where you are from, and guide them to work towards helping this helpless nation. May Allah assist us.
Amen. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Let's see, Dr. Fauzia, it's a bit, we're getting a lot of background noise, Dr. Fauzia.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, so it's just to buttress the fact that GPs,
just 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, GPs are still open, and they're still accessible via telephone and online. If you do have problems with your anxiety, depression, please do call your GP. There are options of signposting you to these organizations that my colleagues have already mentioned. And there's also the option of medication. We shouldn't forget that, as well as the Islamic aspects of how to deal with these things. And also talking to people. Talk to people that you trust, your family, your spouse, your parents, your children. Ask them, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this lockdown? And help them to see a way through it. Let them see that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's just
okay. Sakina, you have a question or comment?
Yes, it's just a comment. Assalamu alaikum. It's just
salam, quickly.
advise that anyone who's already open to mental health services, if they're already prescribed any psychotropic or antidepressants, not to be tempted to self-medicate, to double their doses or increase their doses without first consulting their prescriber or the mental health team. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam, jazakallahu khairan. Let's see, there's another person. Hidayah Kadri, let's see. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Just two areas that I want to mention with regards to pay.
One area, okay.
Because one of the things that cause people stress is money. And some people, their job will be on the line, you know, with this thing going on. If you have union, use your union. I know that in my area, the union has been very, very helpful because there are a lot of people that they're not permanent staff. So they're agency paid, but then the school, like I work in a school. So if the agency employ them for the school will say, you're not our staff, we're not paying you.
Okay, so we're gonna advise to use union.
Use your union.
What is the second point, please?
This guy, sorry, just on the money one, because that one is a very important one.
Yes, it is.
Martin Lewis is doing a program on ITV where he really irons out and he answers people's questions. You can go to his website. A lot of people use his website already, Money Saving Expert.
Right.
So you can contact him and he takes up people's cases. The other one is legal. Right. Our community, we don't know that there's a lot of legal aid help that we can get. So there are legal aid services that can take up different kinds of issues for us. So
advice, yes.
We can still access those services if we need them.
All right, now last contributor is the Baroness. Okay, you're unmuted, the Baroness. Okay, the Baroness. Okay, all right. I think Baroness have changed her mind. So Jazakallah khairan for all those who have contributed in that segment. Apologies for the fact that we couldn't take other contributions. There were contributions coming far, but those who are Brother Sulaiman and Sister Mulka, who actually took their time, did some research and came up and shared their thoughts with us. Jazakallah khairan. Now, what we have done is to react to all the suggestions. So in the past two sessions, for the past 2 Sundays, we've had participants telling us that they want to hear about these sort of issues, and we brought people who we know are working in those sectors, and they have shared their thoughts. So we are listening, and we are coming up with content that we want to listen to. Now that brings us to the end of that segment. So the next segment is preparing for Ramadan during lockdown. So let me see, I need to, so Abu Khalil, you are unmuted, and if you can, the stage is yours. You got half an hour to share your thoughts, and then Bidnillah, that will be even more challenging to get question and answers in. But inshallah, because we're going into the Ramadan session, we're going into Ramadan, what we'll do is we might just stop, and then we'll take up some of those feedback, and then we'll deal with it next week. Bismillah. So Abu Khalil?
No.
Okay, right. So the stage is yours now.
شكرا جزاكم الله خيرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم سيد المرسلين إمام المتقين محمد ابن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحابته الكرام والتابعين له بالإحسان إلى يوم الدين. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان من شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر وتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي أني فإني قريب أجيب الدعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي إني أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we thank Him and ask for His help. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send the best blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, the companions, and those who follow his footsteps until the day of resurrection. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to count us among of these people, those who will be rewarded on the day of resurrection with the greatest reward. On the day that wealth and worldly things will become not really important, except for the person that returns back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the pleasant mind, qalbin salim. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this gathering to grant us tawfiq while we're talking about how to prepare for Ramadan during the COVID-19, the lockdown. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while He's testing us, may Allah grant us tawfiq, purification, forgive us, and take this pandemic away out of our way. إنه سميع مجيب الدعاء وهو على كل شيء قدير. And in my speech, with my talk, inshallah, the ayah recited chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, in between 183 up to 187. This is where I'll be talking about, relating to how to prepare ourselves for this month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His mercy enabling every one of us, inshallah, to live until this month and beyond with good health and iman. إنه سميع مجيب الدعاء وهو على كل شيء قدير. The ayah recited is a reminder to everyone the obligatory of this fasting, at this month of Ramadan, when Allah is reminding us that Ramadan is obligatory upon the believers. When you read the Quran and this ayah, Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Fasting has been made obligatory upon those who believe. That happened the second hijrah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his follower to Medina, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared that to be wajib upon those who believe. Says, O you who believed, O you who have iman, fasting has been made obligatory upon you. just like it was made obligatory upon the people before you. And the reason for that, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so you might attain taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us taqwa. Fasting in the fixed period of time, either 29 days or 30 days. Starting from the break of the dawn until the sunset. When we say fasting, it's complete, total abstaining from eating and within this period of time, with intention of doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that meaning or definition of fasting come out from the definition of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while he's saying, as-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bi. All the things that Allah asks us to do, you cannot do them without someone seeing you doing it. Obligation of salah, obligation of hajj or zakat. You can't do it by yourself. Someone will see you doing it, or someone receiving it from you. Like zakat, for instance, you can't give zakat to yourself, you give it to someone else. So when it comes to fasting, it is between son of Adam and his creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you fast, Allah knows you're fasting. If you're fasting and you're not fasting, actually fasting, you can only hide that away from son of Adam, but you can't do that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah placed fasting in a very high rank. It's between you and Allah. Allah Sayyidina said, as-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bi. Fasting is me, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa ana ajzi bi. And I'm the only one who rewards it. So let's have good intention of doing our Ramadan for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. While we are fasting, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Sumu ri'uyatihi wa aftiru ri'uyatihi. Fasting has to be observed when the month has been sighted. The month has been sighted, so that is when one will start to fast. As Allah said in the Quran, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمُ. He who witnesses the month of Ramadan, let him fast. In that ayah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us generally, we Muslims, He singled out some people who have been exempted from fasting because of their circumstances. وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. Whoever falls ill or will be on a journey or will be on a medication, for instance, that will only be able to fast, then it's either he will pay it back or he will only pay the fasting back on daily basis. Al-qada, not kafara. وعلى الذين يتيقونه فدية طعام. For those who are on a journey after Ramadan, they will get that back. For those who will fast with difficulty, old age, if someone is pregnant or someone that is teething the baby, with difficulty, it will be very difficult for them to fast. Fidiyatun ta'amu miskin. On daily basis in Ramadan, they just need to feed the poor, and there will not be any need for them to pay those days back. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. He whoever we want to feed more than one person because he's not able to fast one day, then he can do so. He can do more than feeding one person. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And this is general now to everyone, every Muslim who is able to fast in a good health, sound health. Is not on a journey. He has no any excuse that one may have not to fast or to exempt him from fasting. أَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. To fast indeed is best for you. When you read Quran Kareem, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something is good for you, even though sometimes we may think that when we fast, it comes with difficulty. Or if you are to look at the spiritual aspect of fasting, it brings all goodness, health-wise. And it has been proven today scientifically that the more we eat, the more we endanger ourselves. Out of the blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made this fasting obligatory once in a year for 29 days or 30 days. So for those who are fasting regularly, you see that they live healthy, provided they follow the right procedure for intaking and the way they eat, and they look after themselves. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. To fast is good for you, is the best for you if you are to know. In this month, Allah says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. In this month, where the Quran has been revealed. What is Quran? هدى للناس. A guide to people. وبينات من الهدى. Quran explains many things that will lead to guidance of son of Adam, things to do and things not to do. The rules and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on how to live our lives is built in this month of Ramadan. فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمُهُ. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spares his life to be in good health, and it comes to witness the month of Ramadan, فَلْيَصُمُهُ. Let him fast. He must fast. And that's a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, it's going to repeat again the same the following ayah. وَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Whoever falls sick or happens to be on the journey, then let him pay those days that he misses in Ramadan after the completion of month of Ramadan. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ. Indeed, Allah intends ease with you. وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah does not intend difficulty with you. وَلْتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ. Count your days and make sure it's complete. If the moon is being sighted at the beginning, the moon will be sighted at the end. You fast the days people are fasting. You don't single yourself out of the community. You are to be with the community when it comes to fasting. You fast the day everyone is fasting, and you break the day everyone is breaking the fast. وَلْتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ. Complete the days. وَلْتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا أَهْدَاكُمْ. Glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having guided you to the right path. And to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of these guidance so that you can recognize what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done for you. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِ عَنِّي. If they are to ask you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Indeed, I'm near to them. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ. I answer the supplications of this person that calls on him. Whenever he calls on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Allah calls on you, answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's call. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. So when Allah calls on you, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. Let them answer my call as well. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. So that I can guide them to the right path. In this ayah, in the Quran Karim that are recited, that is where everything about Ramadan comes from. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made that clear that Ramadan, in it, there are a lot of guidance in this ayah that are recited. You know, the obligation of fasting comes in the month of Ramadan. And this month, the month is named by the same month of the month that we say, the month of Ramadan. Fasting enables someone and gives someone more courage to come near and close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When one fasts, is fasting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know what rewards is going to be like. Fasting wipes away our sins, our wrongdoing. Like Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi." Whoever will observe Ramadan, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hoping for the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive his wrongdoing, the previous wrongdoing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and forgive our sins. Innahu sami'un mujibud du'a wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. In the ayah that I recited, you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given permission to the ill person, the person that embarked on journey, the traveler, not to fast because of difficulties, but he needs to pay it back. For a pregnant woman or woman that is breastfeeding, she has been given opportunity to break her fast if it comes with difficulty, but she has to pay that back. Or if she needs, she can, you know, feed a person per day. And she has to break her fast and pay the day back if she wants. For elderly person that is not able to fast because of old age, and that is not going to get any better, then she can feed a person per day. And he or she will not be fasting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them equally with that intention. And Ramadan comes with the benefit of, alhamdulillah, something that is done together in the community. Unfortunately, in this year, it's not something that is going to be happening that people will be gathering in the mosque. Well, alhamdulillah, everyone has family, husband and wife and the children. They will still congregate together to do their tarawih. And in fact, in this year with the COVID-19, this is now that you have to practice what Sayyidina Muhammad first did when Ramadan became obligation to him with regard to Salat Tarawih. Salat Tarawih is not something to be done in the mosque. It was later adopted by Sahaba, starting in the lifetime of Abu Bakr Siddiq, with the instruction of Umar ibn Khattab that, you know, let's get together and pray together in the mosque. But primarily, Sayyidina Muhammad will do Salat Tarawih by himself. So nothing stopping the family to get together while you fast together to pray your Tarawih together. Before that, the 5 daily prayers, you do it together at home. Most especially, well, children, all the children are at home now, they don't go to school, everyone stay indoor because of the COVID-19. And with Ramadan, inshallah, with all activities, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it much easier for everyone of us. Innahu sami'un mujibud du'a wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Now, things that we must not forget with the month of Ramadan coming in, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised that all of our deeds will be highly rewarded in this month. When it comes to charity giving, sadaqat and zakawat, is something we encourage ourselves to continue to do within our communities. Most especially, there are people who will be hugely affected. You know, some people's job is not guaranteed, and some people will get benefit from their government, They may be in the less privileged community or country whereby people will struggle. It is individual responsibility as well as collective responsibility that we reach out to them so they have a wonderful Ramadan as well, something to feed on and how to look after themselves. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enabled to have money, wealth, spread, share your wealth with those who does not. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. إنه سميع مجيب الدعاء وهو على كل شيء قدير.
Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbi Alameen. Jazakallahu khairan. Now I have now released the unmute. So if you want to ask a question, I will try to unmute you. But if I'm slow to do that, just unmute yourself and then ask your question. The first question I'll take from Ismail. Ismail, you're unmuted. Unmuted. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Ismail is not there. Okay. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Abu Khalil, we recognize that it took a lot to really condense all that to fit within our time slot that we gave you. But Bismillah will provide more time to perhaps treat some of these issues. So while in the answers that you might give to the questions that you are asked, if you could take that into consideration. So if something mean that you have to dive in, you can give us the answer, and then we'll perhaps make time available to do a further dive in later. Ismail, last call. I've unmuted you. Okay, now let me just go. Wa alaikum salam. Okay, give us your question.
Well, I have a comment at the moment.
Comment. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's take your comment.
My comment is that we should, in preparing ourselves for Ramadan in this time, a lot that we need to do actually is about more disciplining ourselves and focusing.
There's a lot of feedback. Is there someone else with you who is listening to the same thing? Maybe they need to mute or something. Yeah, go ahead. I think that would. Go ahead.
Mute this one for me. Mute it.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Is a lot of discipline. Discipline ourselves, especially time-wise, on two sides. One is we know we need to do our Taraweeh and our Zahur. It's very, very imperative that we don't miss those two things. When we do have the communal gatherings, it's easier. But when we are now at home, it's about us, challenging ourselves and making sure we time ourselves very well to make sure we don't miss those two times. We are at home, we should not have any excuse. But if we don't plan ourselves very well, easily we are going to start to rationalize and we start to missing those two periods. And they are two very important time for us. The second one is our eating habits, what we're going to eat in the evening and what we're going to eat in the morning, to make sure we follow the sunnah as much as possible. Not to waste, not to eat too much, not to want to see us because we're at home, I want to replicate what we think we used to do in the masjid, having 3-4 dishes and that kind of a thing. It will probably be defeating the objective of Ramadan itself, where you're supposed to be having maybe 2 meals. You're not having more than what you would have been having when you're having normal.
How many points have you got? Yes, finally, good.
If you can have, if we do need group support as well, for us to be able to help one another in that respect. Nice. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Yes, Shams. Let's see. I can unmute you. Unmute. Yes, Shams. You have a question.
I have a comment. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, okay. 30 seconds comment. Yes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Wa
barakatuh.
alaikum salam, Shamsuddin. Yeah.
Just like Abu Khalil, all the things he has said, thank you very much, Sheikh. They're very good for us to get the blessings of Ramadan, for us to get our Ramadan right. But all of those things, they will become overwhelming. We will overlook some of them, just like Bri Ismail just mentioned now, unless we plan. And planning requires us designing a routine and sticking by the routine. Unfortunately, most of us from ethnic background, we do things haphazardly. We don't stick to routines. In fact, routines is very difficult for us. And we learn from the Prophet that he had routines. That is why, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're able to do a day with the Prophet because we know the Prophet had routines. Although he will tell you, when you take this way, take another way coming, it is still the routine, but you might vary your routine or the way you deploy your routine. So, for example, sleep is one of the biggest problems we have during Ramadan in summer. So first of all, look at your day, look at the time of Salat, look at the time of breaking fast, the time of starting fast, then plot your sleeping time and make sure you stick by it. Make sure you sleep when you have allocated your sleep so that you can have the energy to wake up, to do the other things. You want to achieve Quran reading, put in a routine, slot a time, fixed time that you will stick by so that you can complete the recitation. You want to learn about this, you want to join this Zoom call and all that, plot it, plan your Ramadan. If you fail to plan, then you have planned to fail. But if you actually do your plan, then you will achieve everything you have accomplished. And for me, inshallah, I'm spending the next few days to design every minute of my day during Ramadan, and so that I can accomplish it. I want to encourage us, you just try it and try and stick to your routine. Write it down, stick it on, have it on the page on your phone, stick it on the wall, stick it everywhere so that you are looking at it, and tell people around you to help you maintain this time structure so that when it is time for this, you do it. When it is time for that, you do it, and you dedicate yourself. May Allah make it easy and possible for all of us to achieve, so that this Ramadan that Allah has given us as a unique Ramadan in isolation, we're able to avoid any excuse and accomplish all we have always wanted to do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Yes, the Baroness. Let's see if we can get you this time. You're muted.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I just mentioned what I said to talk about, which is sleeping. Because right now, some of us are a bit paranoid, and the only way we've been trying to calm ourselves is sleeping. So I've been planning on sleeping a whole lot during Ramadan, honestly. And but now that he said he's advising us to plan, but I really want to ask, is it okay to sleep for a long time during Ramadan?
Okay, good question. Abu Khalil.
Now, alhamdulillah, thank you for your comment. Ramadan, with this Ramadan, there is something called fiqh Ramadan, understanding of Ramadan, which is very packed. If you're to do it rightly, we need to kind of segment things we're talking about. And I believe everyone has to plan, because Allah's name is Al-Mudabbir. Now, this is this question, inshallah, when it comes to sleeping, no sleep is too much. وَجَعَلْنَا لَيْلَ لِبَاسًا, that has been abused by son of Adam. We don't have enough sleep, and which is developed in many illness in our lives. So in Ramadan, you need to sleep, you need to have enough sleep. It depends on where you are in the world. For those who are in England, you see Aisha is going to become late. That means you'll be sleeping 11 o'clock and you have to wake up again before 3:30 to have sahir. You may not have your sleep at once, but you can do one between Salat, after Salat Tarawih, Tahajjud, you wake up again for Salat al-Fajr, or before Salat al-Fajr for sahir. And after Salat al-Fajr, you have some rest again. And during the afternoon, you have some nap as well. So you know yourself best. Nobody can tell you how many hours you sleep. will have enough rest, for that in itself is healing. And there are a lot of blessings in it. So even before Ramadan, one should learn to sleep. And if you struggle to sleep, Ikhwan, do a lot of dhikr. Do a lot of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Switch off of thinking of these worldly things. Remember your Lord, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send your mind sakina. Allah will put tranquility into your mind and you fall asleep. It's things that you need to adopt in your life. Dhikr, dhikr of tongue, which eventually will develop to dhikr of heart. And if you reach that stage, you won't have any problem with sleeping. A Muslim or a Muslim in general should not be put on medication to sleep. And if you've been doing that, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure you, heal you, and you come out of it and you have natural sleep. And Allah knows best, inshallah.
So just to clarify that, there's nothing wrong to sleep during the day, but you can't sleep throughout the day anyway because there's the salah, so which means that you got to break. So I believe that's what the Sheikh is saying.
Can I just add something?
Let's just move on, Shamsuddin. Let's just move on.
Okay.
ZA. Okay, so ZA, question? Yes, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say quickly that this is also a good opportunity. The lockdown has provided us an insight into what opportunities lie at our fingertips. For those of us who, no matter our ages, haven't started our Quran recitation, if it's been a long time since we picked it up, we can get online teachers now. Many of us do have teachers in Egypt, but there are actually many resources, human resources in Nigeria as well, who are capable of doing these things. Let's get them for our kids, let's get them for ourselves, get started and continue with or without the lockdown. And for the kids as well, while we're doing routine for ourselves, let's make sure we do for the kids. That helps. Shouting at them or getting angry at them, when they know what they ought to do next, they'll do it irrespective of if you remind them or not. So if it takes you 24 hours one day to design a timetable and print it out, stick it on their room wall for them, that will relieve you a lot of stress.
Shamsuddin, okay, just quickly jump in.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to get back on that sleep.
Okay, just quickly, yes.
Yeah,
quickly.
Sleeping is okay as long as it doesn't prevent you from your other responsibilities. So, for example, you can't plan your sleep during the time of Salah. You can't plan your sleep during the time you should be working, whether you are working for yourself or working for other people, because those are important responsibilities, taking care of your family, but you are allowed to sleep at different time of the day. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ recommended that we actually take a nap sometime in the afternoon, especially when the sun is very high and hot outside. So we are encouraged to also actually sleep during the time of the night. But I think more importantly is to make sure how much hours do you need in a day? 7 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, then plot it, have a plan and stick by it. Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Shamsuddin. Yeah, but Abu Khalil, do you want to come back on that point?
Yeah, the sleeping, alhamdulillah, Prophet is hadith, an authentic hadith. It says, Qilu tasbihu. You know, have a nap in the day, during the day, then you will ever live healthy. And if you've been in the Arab world, you see most of them, they finish anyway in the afternoon. Everyone goes to have a nap at home because the weather is very hot. Wherever you may be in the world, it's not stopping you. I do that on a daily basis, alhamdulillah, at work, for 30 minutes rest, and I can sleep for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And if any day that I fail to do that, it will have a bad impact on me in the night. So do that, look after yourself. When you sleep, don't sleep with your mind. Sleep and rest your body, rest your eyes. And remember Allah. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you sleep, your mind doesn't sleep. And that's how you live a healthy life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq.
Ameen, ameen. Jazakallahu khairan. Jibril, do you want to have a moment?
Please.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jazakumullah khairan, my sheikh. And my own just little contribution is that we know that, like Shamsuddin said, we don't plan to fail, but we fail to plan. But within that planning, we need to be very, very realistic. As I've always said, we start the Ramadan like you start the 1st of January, understand? We kind of pencil down on unachievable goals. Like so many people will say they will need to finish the Quran. Alhamdulillah, if you can, but majority can't. Why do we always put at the top of the list that we're going to finish the Quran? So let's set ourselves achievable objectives. Even if it's only going to be 3 chapters, you're going to memorize. Just give yourself something that you will do and you will do it properly. Secondly, we're going to be at home. You want to spend a lot of time doing ibadah. So things like your food stuff, this is the time to go and get it now. Stock your house with things that you are going to need. So it stops you going out every day to go and get things from the store. Secondly, get the children in the spirit of Ramadan. The spirit of Ramadan comes because of the fact they go for Taraweeh. So you got to do a lot of work, understand, to engage them this time around because they're already down that, they can't do Taraweeh. So what are you doing to motivate them, to get them engaged in this month of Ramadan? Not only the children, you yourself as well. Understand, in terms of sleep, yeah, plan your sleep, but that not much has changed because there's still a lot of us that work from home. And I've realized that the intensity of working from home is almost more than even physically going to the office, especially when you are involved in having to do things that affects the life out there. For example, people that are working in organization that budget has to be reset because of these issues, you tend to be working hours on hand trying to get deadlines met. So you could plan to sleep, but you have to be realistic as well regarding your deliverables. So plan properly and make it realistic and attainable. May Allah make it easy for all of us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Bradikullah.
Accept all the contributions from us. Jazakumullah khair to Abu Khalil for the presentation and to all the contributors. The little contribution I want to make, realizing that we have 2 more minutes, is to remind us that one of the greatest rewards that we are going to get in this month of Ramadan will be from our salat. Because when you pray your compulsory salat at the right time, you get multiple rewards. And when you do your nawafil during the month of Ramadan, you are rewarded like you are praying compulsory salat at other times. We should not be like those who will give so much priorities to Qiyamul Layl, and they do it so much to the point that they sleep off and they don't do their Salatul Fajr at the right time. So that is one area I would like us to pay very good attention to. You must plan your night, including your sleep and your time for eating, in such a way that it will not prevent you from observing Salatul Fajr at the right time. If you see anyone who is observing a lot of Taraweeh, they can do it, they can do 20, they can do a lot of other ibadat in the night, and they don't wake up to do Salatul Fajr. That is like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. May Allah accept it from us, and may He keep us beyond the month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jazakallah khairan for that. Allah barak fik, Sheikh Dhikrullah, barakallah fik. That's very important. You see, while we're asking Allah to reward us and grant us more, you need to understand the basic, focus on the basic, and the things that Allah asks of you. is hadith of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but I just explain to you in the simplest manner. No one come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with other than the things that He made obligatory upon them. Taraweeh is good. It's nafila. It's not obligatory. It's good to do it, provided you've done your obligatory ibadah. People spend all night and forget about rakatin fajr or salat al-subh, which is they're not equal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So pay attention to that. Do as much as you can. Focus on the basic, most especially our children. When it comes to Taraweeh, it's not only Taraweeh. If you have a son, a child of 13, 11, 15 at home, it is time for them to put things that they learn into practice. Put them in front to lead in prayer. It's not obligatory prayers, Taraweeh. Do it together. And that's how you can plan your day. Don't think too much about what is going on, because that is in the hand of Allah. Look at yourself, look after yourself. You know, stay hygiene, stay healthy, and look after yourself. But don't overwhelm yourself with kinlamashi, because that in itself, it can create damage to our health.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I have to stop you there. I still want to get a few questions in. Muhammad Dabiri, do you still have question? Okay. Idaya, do you have a question?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Alaikum salam.
Just a contribution about healthy eating. You know, the tendency for us women to cook and make extra bits. Yes, there are people that will eat the extras, but just for us to remember that one of the purpose of Ramadan is to what should I say? To reduce our eating, or to feel for those who don't have food. So, you know, I think everyone's aware of, you know, not wasting food and all that, but also because we miss meals doesn't mean we have to replace all that meals. So mostly, I think most people now, they sort of eat the same thing, or they even eat light when they're breaking the fast. So that's just a contribution. On question, I want to ask about motivating the children to do Taraweeh, because it's very easy to follow somebody, but sometimes the children, when they have to do it on their own, or, you know, in the house, it's not as, so if there's any tips on motivating children, and then they have a tendency to just sleep through the whole day because they have nothing to do. So if there's anybody that can help answer that question.
Okay.
With the children, you see, we encourage all our, no, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Abdul Khalil.
Now, with the children, we encourage our children to remember the best time to practice that is all year round, but most especially in Ramadan. Anybody that memorizes Quran wants to put it in practice. So when they lead in prayer, especially the prayer they have to read or recite loudly, then it's good for them to read and lead the prayer, and they put what they learn in practice. The second thing, during the day, because you're not going to pray all day long, during the day, you can dedicate some time. You don't have to sit in front of the TV. We can have halaqah at home, whereby someone will present something today, the second, the other person, or you share it around, or you even read Quran, whereby you're reading surah, someone will start ayah number 1, the second person ayah number 2, the third person ayah number 3, and there is nothing stopping the father and mother to sit together all along. So one reads, the rest listen. And these are the things that can motivate you. If you have Quran quiz, the exercise at home, or the Hadith exercise, the Quran challenge and Hadith challenge, you can do that, and many more. So, you know, you have the bond of family, you get to know one another of your children, and Allah knows best.
Furqan, just quickly, you want to share? Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, just quickly, I just want to mention that earlier in the last week, I sent a Ramadan planner template around. So I think it might be useful to plan for the Ramadan. We can use that as our guide. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I would like to thank everyone who came and participated, especially the speakers who we called, and they honored us and they shared their thoughts. Jazakallah khairan to all of them. May Allah reward them and be with their family, and may Allah give all of us Jannah. Amen. Now, three more things I just need to get